I'm John Harris with a first look at your weather. We continue under a clear sky, lots of starlight, but storm number 3 headed its way toward the panhandles. It will arrive tomorrow, give us cooler weather, and then give us a chance for rain and snow as we travel into tomorrow night, Thursday, and Friday. There could be some accumulating snow across our western counties. More on that in a moment. Currently outside, winds are out of the southeast at about 5 to 15 miles per hour. This is a moisture-laden flow. It will humidify the air mass during the overnight hours, causing us to be overcast. 44 degrees at Dalhart. For our friends at Amarillo right now, we have 48, Childress 52, over in Canadian 53. At 10 p.m., temperatures hovering in the 40s in the morning, overcast and 35 degrees. There may be some frost, and by 10 a.m., we're back into the 40s. So how much snow might we see in Amarillo, or will we see snow at all? More on that in a few minutes. News starts now.
Could America elect the first female president and a former president looking to lead the country once again? We've got the latest results on this race.
And it's been the most debated issue for Amarillo residents. Did they decide to name Amarillo a sanctuary city for the unborn?
And did Texas have a blue moment this election? A close race of Senator Ted Cruz and Representative Colin Allred.
From Fox 14 News, this is Democracy 2024.
Welcome to Election Night on the Fox 14 News at 9. I'm Maya Clark.
And I'm Clint Brakebill. Thank you for joining us. We want to start with the much anticipated presidential election. We start with voters in Texas. Associated Press calling this state for former President Trump as the projected winner with 55% of the votes, with 66% of precincts reporting.
Now to the state of New Mexico. Former President Donald Trump with 50% of the vote, Vice President Kamala Harris with 48% of the vote, and 19% of precincts are reporting.
And finally, in Oklahoma, Associated Press calling this state for former President Trump as the projected winner with 67% of the vote, 86% of precincts reporting. Now let's move closer to home with the city of Amarillo.
Residents in the city voting on 5 propositions related to the city charter. Let's take a look at these numbers. We start with Prop A. This is for or against the ordinance to name Amarillo a sanctuary city for the unborn. 59% voting against the proposition, 41% voting for the proposition, 44% of precincts are currently reporting. We turn to our team coverage of this issue. We have Princess Bryant with people for the proposition. Let's start there. Princess, good evening. What can you tell us?
Good evening, Maya. Proposition A has been a big topic this election cycle, with the prop first beginning as an ordinance that was presented to City Council, and it was denied the original ordinance in the amended one, now being placed on the ballot for the voters to vote on this election cycle. I am now here with Mark Lee Dixon, Sanctuary City for the Unborn Initiative founder. So, Mr. Dixon, can you tell me a little bit about the ordinance, and when you first brought it to City Council, did you think it will end up to this point where it's on the ballot?
Well, the City Council, they ran on the platform of passing an ordinance like this. In fact, this ordinance that went before the vote has gone before the voters is an ordinance that is very similar to the very first ordinance that we gave the mayor in City Council back in 2021. And so this is an ordinance that is very similar to what was passed in Plainview in November of 2022 and in Abilene, San Angelo, Athens, and Odessa.
And currently, right now, against is actually leading with, I think, about 20% of the votes in right now. If it doesn't pass, what is next for your initiative? What do you guys do after this point?
Well, right now, not all the results are in. And the question that really is before the people of Amarillo is, did they really understand what they voted on? We've heard misinformation left and right. We've heard people say that this was a travel ban. This is not a travel ban. A lot of news outlets have reported it as a travel ban. We've always been very clear this is a ban on abortion trafficking. And so this is something that would prevent minors from being taken across state lines without parental consent. And what we've seen from the other side is a lot of misinformation. We have seen a lot of misinformation from the other side, but also we've seen the media being used to spread misinformation, and a lot of that misinformation has not been corrected in several news outlets and publications in Amarillo.
All right, well, Mr. Dixon, thank you.
Thank you.
Live at Cornerstone Outreach Ministry, Princess Bryant, Fox 14 News. Maya and Clint.
Princess, thank you. Clint?
Our team coverage continues with Jack Kessler with those against the ordinance. Jack, tell us more.
So I'm here at the Golden Light Cafe for the watch party against Prop A. 59% have voted against Prop A. I'm joined now by Courtney Brown with ARFA. So Courtney, tell us a little bit about how you're feeling right now with 59% voting against Prop A.
I'm feeling really good about this proposition ballot initiative. It seems to be pretty much being rejected by Amarillo right now, which is what we want to see. This is a diverse community with deeply held, strong, conservative, pro-life beliefs, but they understand that this is a travel ban at the end of the day, and that we do not want to take away each other's constitutional rights. We want to protect our neighbors, we want to love our neighbors, and we want to support our neighbors. So I'm feeling really good about Amarillo right now.
And so why do you think people have voted against Proposition A? Why do you think people have, like you said, rejected this proposition?
Well, when it comes to reading the ordinance and breaking down the language and understanding what the teeth of the ordinance is, that it's putting $10,000 bounties on each other, deputizing citizens to infringe on their rights to bodily autonomy and medical privacy, and the dangers that it would drive away doctors and business and not be a safe environment to raise your family in. Amarillo understands that. At the end of the day, we want to look out for each other. We want to raise our families in a healthy environment. So it's been we're on the street right now. But yeah, it's been a great rejection, and I'm thank you, Amarillo.
All right, well, we appreciate it, Courtney.
Thank you.
We'll send it back to you live in studio.
Jack, thank you. Maya?
Turning now to Prop B, this would amend the city charter and add more Amarillo City Council members, 53% voting against the proposition, 47% voting for it, with 44% of precincts reporting.
Prop C, if passed, would change the term lengths for Amarillo City Council members from 2 to 4 years and stagger those terms. 60% against, 40% for, 44% of precincts reporting.
Now to Prop D, this changes the number of signatures needed to recall an elected official. 51% against, 49% for, 44% of precincts reporting.
And finally, Prop E for Amarillo voters. This would change how the city council fills a vacancy if someone leaves office early. 55% of votes for, 45% against, with 22% of precincts reporting.
Now to State Representative District 87, Caroline Fairley with 79% of the vote. Her opponent, Timothy Gasway, with 21% of the vote. 56% of precincts are reporting. Let's bring in Fox 14's Max Preston.
Max, you're live with Caroline Fairley at her watch party. What's the latest?
Yes, good evening, guys. Like you said, I am live with Ms. Fairley at her watch party. She is the winner of the District 87 State Representative race. Thank you so much for joining us. So you are the youngest Republican Texas woman to be elected into the Texas House. What does that mean for you early in your political career?
Well, thanks for having me on. I mainly am just humbled that the people in District 87, they would believe in young leadership. They would believe in the next generation of conservatives to step up to the plate and serve.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And you spent time with Congressman Ronnie Jackson in his campaign and in his office working with him. Just how does that give you the experience you need in this position?
Well, really, it got me exposed to politics at a first-hand level. Like, I'm not naive to that world and what it looks like. I saw firsthand what it looks like when people work together well and when people don't, and when you don't communicate well, and what it looks like to advocate for principles and values and stand on your own 2 feet. And so I'm really thankful for my time in D.C. because I was exposed to really what does it look like behind the scene to work in politics.
Yes, absolutely. And so what are some of the goals now as you step into this position? What are you hoping to do? What are you hoping to accomplish?
That's a great question. Really, the goals, at the end of the day, they're not about me. They're about what my district needs and what is important to them. And so water, rural health care, making sure we have access to, good providers and doctors, public education, that's a huge thing, agriculture, wildfire repairs. It's another big thing that I'm excited to work on. And so those are just a few of the issues. But I've spent so much time this last year campaigning in the district that these issues, you know, they're important to me, and they're important to the people I represent.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and enjoy this night with your supporters, and have a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much. All right, back to you guys in studio.
Max, thank you. We're going to be turning our attention to a statewide race. We've looked at the propositions and the presidential race and how those are going, but there's also been some very close races throughout that we've also seen, and this one was getting closer in the final few weeks.
Yep. Senator Ted Cruz facing off against Colin Allred, and I think that we saw money and we saw people coming to Texas that we didn't usually see. Currently, incumbent Senator Cruz is leading with 53% of the vote. Representative Allred is trailing with 45% of the vote, as 66% of precincts across the state are reporting. I think we saw Vice President Kamala Harris come to Houston and was campaigning with Colin Allred, and I think that's something you don't typically see in the state of Texas, because you don't typically see incumbents get unseated here.
No, you don't, and this one's still, it hasn't been called yet. We're expecting a results here very quickly, and when we do, we're gonna hear from the winner is what we're expecting. We're going to be getting to that here in just a little bit. So yeah, but this one, again, one of those that wasn't just looked at locally or regionally. This was a nationwide race that we saw.
Yeah, it was definitely something that people have been watching for, and we're going to continue to watch until it's called tonight.
Yeah.
Going now to the race for U.S. Representative in District 13, Representative Ronnie Jackson being reelected tonight. He was the only candidate on the ballot. Tonight he is in West Palm Beach, Florida, with former President and presidential candidate Donald Trump.
Now heading over to U.S. Representative for District 19, Associated Press has called Jody Arrington as the projected winner with 81% of the votes. 50% of precincts are reporting. Now, before we head to break, we want to check in with some statewide races in New Mexico.
We'll start in the Senate. Incumbent Martin Heinrich looking to be reelected for another term. Currently, Republican Nila Domenici has 51% of the vote, and Heinrich is trailing with 49% of the vote, as 22% of precincts are reporting to the House side in New Mexico. Incumbent Teresa Leger Fernandez looking to secure another term. She currently has 50% of the vote, and her opponent, Republican Sharon Klosha-Shilich, has 50% of the vote as well, with 21% of precincts reporting. Now, we were just talking about Senator Ted Cruz, and we are going to go back to that. We have a live look into his watch party.
God be the glory. Tonight is an incredible night. A huge victory here in Texas. Right now, we're up by 8 points at over 600,000 votes. And they're still counting votes. It also looks very likely that we're going to have a Republican Senate next year. And I believe, and I hope and pray, that Donald Trump will be reelected as President of the United States. I want to say thank you, number one, to my extraordinary wife, Heidi, my best friend in the world. Such an amazing partner on this magic carpet ride of life. And I want to say thank you to our two beautiful and amazing girls, Caroline and Catherine. You know, politics at times exacts a price on the family.
Get the best reclining furniture deals on wheels at Texas Furniture's 40th
back, everyone. We're starting out with a time-lapse video from our Pampa camera. What a beautiful day to vote. What a beautiful day just to be out and about. Sunshine and light winds. And, of course, the days are getting shorter. We're now down to 10 hours and 35 minutes worth of daylight. You compare this to the 21st day of June when we're up to about 15 hours worth of daylight. But check out that pretty sunset. You see a couple of clouds in the sky, and that's really just about it. Now, unfortunately, we're headed right back into inclement weather starting later tonight into tomorrow. Now, this morning, we actually woke up to some fresh snow on the ground around Clayton and back over toward Boise City and up into Colorado. Also some snow in the San Luis Cristos, but this is kind of just a precursor of things to come. Look at this. We already have a winter storm watch that takes effect tomorrow evening, runs through Thursday afternoon for the possibility of 5 inches of snow or higher from places like Clayton, Dalhart, Boise City, Elkhart, and points west. In other words, we could have a winter storm on our hands across our western counties. Now, the latest forecasted snow totals are coming in with high amounts, but a little bit farther to the west than what they were on the early shows on KMR Local 4. But look at Clayton. Over a foot of snow could be seen by the time we reach into Thursday afternoon. Dalhart, about 2 inches of snow, about 3 inches of snow at Tucumcari. Right here in the city of Amarillo, we will be on the cusp. Maybe some rain, maybe some snow, maybe a little bit of both. But storm system number 1 gave us all of that rain on Friday night and Saturday. Storm system number 2 is this one going away from us. Gave us the mixture of rain and snow yesterday, and this is storm system number 3 that is plowing in from the northwest. And as it approaches, we'll have more cloud cover, of course. And in the morning, not completely out of the question that we might be tracking a couple of drizzle droplets or sprinkles around Dalhart, Dumas, and Guyman, snow up around Clayton. And then as we make our way throughout the day tomorrow, lots of snow starting to fall on the Interstate 25 corridor from around Wagon Mountain, Las Vegas, back over toward Trinidad. And that snow starts to encroach into our western counties as we travel into the day tomorrow. And then as we travel into Thursday, how about this? The snow makes its way all the way to about Clovis into the Dalhart area, back over toward Guyman. Will it reach Amarillo? Well, according to the latest model runs, it puts on the brakes just west of town. So we might stay liquid form here while we have the heavy snow coming down to the west of us. Only time will tell. Again, that snow line may start to encroach a little bit further to the east as we look at the newest model runs coming in later tonight and tomorrow. Currently outside, winds are variable at about 5 to 15 miles per hour. Wind speeds will stay generally out of the southeast at 5 to 20 miles per hour tonight. This is a moisture-laden flow. This will help to create an overcast late tonight into tomorrow morning. And then we have a frontal boundary moving through that will give us a brisk north wind during the day tomorrow. We'll be in the 50s like today, but it will be a cooler day because of a wind chill. How warm was it today for Election Day? Childress 65, Clarendon 64, Canadian 61, Guyman 59 for our friends at Clovis, and Portales 62 degrees. And right here in the city of Amarillo and downtown, we touched 64 degrees. Officially, we hit 59, average high is 66, and the record temperature 84 coming in from 1960. Currently outside from our Roy McCoy downtown camera under a mostly clear sky, 48 degrees, but notice how high the humidity is. We're getting closer to saturation. Humidity is 68%. Dew points at 38 degrees, and the pressure is holding steady at 29.77 inches of mercury. Here's our day planner forecast for your midweek. In the morning, overcast and 36, mostly cloudy throughout the day. We'll peak at about 57 degrees around 2 p.m., dropping back to the low 50s and upper 40s by about 4 to 5 p.m. So in the morning, we are waking up to the overcast, chilly weather, freezing up at Clayton at 31, maybe a few flurries in the sky. Dalhart 32 degrees, Childress 41, followed by the clouds rolling in over the top of us and snow moving in later in the day, at least for our western counties, and a high of 57 degrees. 7-day forecast looks this way for the city of Amarillo as we travel into Thursday and Friday. Rain and snow and a few rumbles of thunder, more than likely percentage-wise, 100% probability of rain on Thursday along with snow, and a 90% probability of both on Friday. Highs only in the upper 30s and low 40s. Saturday morning, we freeze at 32. Of course, we have the Veterans Day Parade on Saturday morning. A little bit cool, but during the afternoon, temperatures will moderate into the 50s. Nice weather on Sunday at 67. Monday for Veterans Day itself, a beautiful day, 70. And for Tuesday, week today, unseasonably warm and 74 degrees. Of course, you go to myhighplains.com and keep an eye on that interactive radar. Always check out news, weather, and sports while there. Maya and Clint, back to you.
John, thank you.
You bet.
The Texas State Board of Education has 15 members.
Each represents more than 1 million Texans. Details on the race for one of those seats.
Here at D&D Mattress, we don't believe.
Dr. Darrell Lovell, Clinical Assistant Professor of Political Science at WT. He's also the MPA Program Director there. It's election night. It's the moment I think most of us have been waiting for. What makes this election so different and special?
I think it's the fervor around it, right? I don't think we've seen this. I was talking to some of the people in the newsroom earlier. They were telling me that their first election was 2016. That is a very distorted view of what elections are. I think young people today would be kind of shocked and bored by a Mitt Romney-Barack Obama debate today. But what sets this as apart is, I mean, it's really kind of become a very heightened activity, very heightened anxiety. Like, people are tailgating today. I'm surprised people aren't putting briskets on the smoker, having like butterscotch brownies for dessert to kind of get used to this. And we're doing post-game and pre-game and all this stuff. So I do think that there's a lot more, I don't know if it's anxiety, anxiousness, a lot more energy is being seen. And I don't know that it's always positive energy, but it sounds like things are going pretty well.
In Amarillo, there are several propositions that were on the ballot, specifically Proposition A, which is designating Amarillo for or against a sanctuary city for the unborn. And right now, there are 59% of voters voting against it. And so I guess from your perspective, what has kind of been the community's feedback on this proposition?
So this is something I was really looking at coming in tonight, because every time we've seen, or so far what we've seen around the nation, is anytime abortion has come up, the public vote has been against abortion bans or against strict abortion laws. I was very interested to see if Amarillo was going to follow suit tonight. And so far, with 70% of the vote in, it has. So I do think that what we're seeing is maybe this is an indication that Amarillo does not really have the appetite to have a strict abortion law like this. Maybe young voters are coming out more and voicing a little more of that opinion. And maybe something we've seen at the national level, where the abortion issue isn't as red and blue as we thought it was. It's a lot more of a purple issue. It's an issue that people really do kind of align on. When you talk to the public, when you talk to individuals, see that polling, most of the public is against strong abortion bans. It's when we've seen those laws be put into action by legislatures within state houses that we've gotten those bans, like we have in Texas, for example. So I do think that it's very interesting that Amarillo has followed suit, but I think it's also an indication that abortion is much more of a purple issue rather than a red or blue issue.
It is still very early during election night. There are some states that have already been called, like Texas. I guess for you, as someone who studies elections, is election night going the way that you thought it was going to go?
Yes. And I know people are going, oh man, Trump is running up the score. Well, he's running up the score in areas and states that are smaller, quicker to count. You look at a state right now, we're looking at Georgia, where Trump, I think, has a 200,000 vote election, and you can look at that and go, man, he's dusting her, it's done. It's that way because smaller counties can count faster. They produce their results faster. Georgia goes the way of Atlanta. Michigan goes the way of Detroit. Pennsylvania usually goes the way of Philadelphia. Those counties, much slower to report. So when you're looking, I was just watching before we came in the studio in Georgia, Gwinnett County, one of the larger counties, DeKalb County and Cobb County, they're still uploading batches of votes that are 300,000 and 400,000 that are in blue areas. So it's what you would expect now. He's going to get a lot of early numbers. She's going to look like she's behind, but those large population centers, once they start to report, we'll know more.
Thank you so much for being here with us today and providing your insight on election night. Coming up next, several schools in our area asking voters to change their tax rate. We've got the larger schools and larger tax rates ahead.
The news on KAMR Local 4 is brought to you by these Town Square media stations.
The state of Texas, this race has been called for former President Donald Trump. He is the projected winner by the Associated Press, and with that, he takes the 40 electoral votes. Now to New Mexico. Former President Trump not leading this one. The Vice President Kamala Harris, this is just with 62% of the precincts reporting. We'll continue to follow that one. Oklahoma, this race has been called by the Associated Press with Trump picking up 66% of the vote. Vice President Kamala Harris with 32%. Heading now to Prop A for the city of Amarillo. This is almost final with 98% of the votes in. We're going to go ahead and call this Proposition A failed. It, again, failed at the city. They then put it on the ballot. Voters rejected it by 59%. To Prop B, which would add council members to Amarillo City Council if passed, you're going to see a trend along this. Proposition B, that didn't make it. Go to Proposition C. That was to add the council members. This one was to increase the mayor and council terms. That failed as well. Proposition D, this was the one that would reduce the recall signatures. That failed. Now, what's interesting about Proposition E here, this was for vacancy. It actually passed, but that was tied to another proposition, I believe it was C. So because it didn't pass, that point is moot. Senator Ted Cruz looking to be reelected. He is being called the winner of this one. 54% of the votes going to Ted Cruz right now. The senator projected right now to win that one. That's with 72% of the precincts reporting. You can find out more results on our website tonight, myhighplains.com.
Ready to hit the open.
And Amarillo voters were asked to vote on a controversial proposition to make Amarillo a sanctuary city for the unborn. A look at what happens next now that the votes have been counted.
And I'll have a look at your weather. We are looking at it to be cloudy tomorrow, breezy and cool, rain and snow possible tomorrow night. More in a moment.
It is election night in America, from president to important props that could change how the Amarillo City Council looks and operates to school tax rate options. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Let's dive in to the latest numbers. We're going to start with the presidential election here in Texas. 40 electoral votes up for grabs. The Associated Press has called this for the former president. Heading now to New Mexico for the same race. 5 electoral votes available with 66% of the precincts reporting. Vice President Kamala Harris with 53% of the votes. Now to Oklahoma, where the Republican nominee for president has won the last 5 elections. That trend will continue tonight with former President Trump taking those 7 electoral votes. Now let's take a look at the road to 270. A lot of swing states still out there, but right now, former President Trump with 214 electoral votes. Vice President Kamala Harris with 179. That's because some late numbers just popped with California and Washington there. So again, this is a race that we're going to follow throughout the night, as many of you are, with 44% of the precincts reporting. So let's bring it back now to our local election. Voters in Amarillo were asked to vote on 5 propositions that could change the way our city council works in the much debated sanctuary city for the unborn ordinance. Let's look at the numbers. Proposition A doesn't make it past the voters. This sanctuary city proposition fails to get enough support. Our team coverage includes reporters at events both for and against the prop. So let's start here with Princess Bryant. Princess, you were with the group that worked to get this proposition on the ballot. What are they saying tonight?
Yes, Andy, I'm out here with the group that is for Proposition A, a big topic that has been here in Amarillo during the election cycle, with the prop first beginning as an ordinance that was presented to the City Council. The original independent ordinance was not passed by City Council, and that's what led it to be on the ballot this election cycle. I spoke with Mark Lee Dixon, who the Sanctuary City for the Unborn Initiative founder. Here's what he had to say early in the day as results were coming in.
The question that really is before the people of Amarillo is, did they really understand what they voted on? We've heard misinformation left and right. We've heard people say that this was a travel ban. This is not a travel ban.
Live at Cornerstone Outreach Ministry, Princess Bryant, KMR Local 4 News. Andy?
Princess, thank you. Again, that proposition was over on our website, myhighplains.com. We appreciate your work. Now we turn to Jack Kessler. You're with the group that fought against this proposition. It was the group that told us no way to Prop A. What are they telling you tonight about those results?
So 59% of Amarillo voters have voted against, 59% of Amarillo voters have voted against Prop A. I'm joined now by Courtney Brown, co-founder of ARPA. So Courtney, tell me a little bit of how you guys are feeling right now with the results.
Well, it seems to be a projected win in our favor, and it's a year and a half of relief. We've been fighting this at every level from city council to talking to the everyday voter and letting them know that, you know, this is not welcome in our community. And when you have the facts, when you have the ordinance in front of you, this isn't going to happen. I mean, this is the first abortion travel restriction ballot proposition to be rejected in the nation, and that's huge in a largely conservative pro-life area. But it just shows that at the end of the day, we understand the concerns that abortion is health care, that we all deserve access to health care no matter what area code that we are in, that at the end of the day, we do want to protect each other's rights and look out in each other's interests. And when we have the facts about when outsiders are coming in to strip away those constitutional rights, that we win. Citizens win. Our rights win.
And so why do you think so many people, 59% of voters, voted against this prop?
Well, after reading an 18-page ordinance or listening to city council or listening to our countless interviews, they got the message that this is a restriction on their rights. This is invasive. It's infringing on their constitutional rights to freedom of speech, bodily autonomy, medical privacy, and the right to interstate travel, which is guaranteed. All of those are guaranteed in our Constitution. They should not be restricted by anybody, no matter their ideology, no matter where they come from. We all deserve freedom. We all deserve choice, and we defended that tonight.
All right, Courtney, thank you.
Thank you.
Jack Kessler, live here at the Golden Light. Back to you.
All right, Jack, thank you. Proposition B, let's turn to that. It would expand the Amarillo City Council to 6 council members and 1 mayor. Voters said no thank you to increasing the size of the council. As you look now at Proposition C, this was going to increase the mayor and the council terms. That fails with 61% of the votes. I think you're going to see a trend here with the rejection of these propositions. We now turn to Proposition D. This was going to reduce the number of signatures needed to recall an elected official and the time needed to submit those petitions. This trend, it fails with 51% of the votes. Now to Proposition E. This dictates how vacancies are filled. It actually passed, but it doesn't matter because C didn't go into effect, so this one will not go into effect despite it passing with 55% of the votes. Getting now to one of the most heated races in Texas. Senator Ted Cruz has held this seat since 2013. He was trying to keep that address in D.C. He's facing Representative Colin Allred and Libertarian Ted Brown. We're calling this, I know it is close. Senator Cruz continues to expand his lead. 54% of the votes right now with Ted Cruz, 74% of the precincts reporting. Again, the Associated Press hasn't officially called this race, but Senator Cruz did make a speech about 45 minutes ago. Coming up, in about 5 minutes, our Austin Bureau is at both watch parties. We're going to be hearing from them. But let's get to some other results, shall we? Heading to U.S. Representative for District 13, Ronnie Jackson will be elected to another term. There weren't any other candidates on the ticket. Tonight, we're told he is in West Palm Beach, Florida, with former president and presidential candidate Donald Trump. Now to District 19, incumbent Jody Arrington, no problem here. The native from Plainview is the projected winner by the Associated Press with 81% of the vote. Now to Texas House District 87. Now this one does cover our area. It's Caroline Fairley looking to be elected the youngest female GOP member in Texas history. We have seen enough of this race. We're going to go ahead and call this 79% of the vote precincts, or she picked up rather 79% of the vote. Let's bring in Max Preston tonight, who is at the Fairley Watch Party. Max, what is her team saying about tonight's big win? I see you're standing by.
Yes, Andy, thank you very much. I'm at Ms. Fairley's watch party. She is the winner of the District 87 state representative race. Now, you will be the youngest female Republican to be elected to the Texas House. What does that mean for you early in your career?
Well, I mainly just feel so thankful and overwhelmed with the support that I've gotten in this last year of campaigning and really the fact that District 87 believes in young leadership running for office.
Absolutely. And you spent time on Congressman Ronnie Jackson's campaign and working in his office. What does that do for your experience and how you get ready to step into this role?
It honestly just exposed me firsthand to politics. I mean, I don't feel that I'm naive to the world of politics. I've seen firsthand what it looks like when people work together well and when they don't. And I've seen what it looks like to stand on principles and values and beliefs. And so I'm thankful for that time because I believe it's prepared me for my time now in Austin.
Absolutely. And then just finally, what are your goals as you step into this position?
I have a lot of goals. I am really excited to get to work. In regards to District 87 and the things that are important to us is public education, it's rural health care, it's water, it's wildfires, and making sure that we hit the ground running starting tomorrow and make sure that we have good representation in Austin.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, back to you, Andy.
All right, Max, thank you. That seat becoming open when Fort Price decided not to run after serving out 7 full terms there in the House. Let's head to New Mexico now for the state Senate race. This race has been called. Martin Heinrich with the win with 55% of the votes right now, with 66% of the precincts reporting. Now to U.S. Representative in District 3. Teresa Leger-Fernandez looking to win another term with more than 65%, with more than 65% of the precincts reporting. She has 55% of the vote in that one. Schools across our area proposing a change in their tax rate. A few of those will be on your screen in just a moment. We're highlighting some of the bigger districts after this. John, we did carve out a little bit of time for you to go over your numbers.
And we are talking about a nice night as we close out election night, but tomorrow we're talking about rain and snow returning to the area. How much snow could we see in our western counties, and how much rain might we see right here in the city of Amarillo? We'll fill in the details on that in a moment.
Northwest Physicians Group of America.
Harvey's Precision Body Shop. Your car can be happy again. This is your local election headquarters. KAMR Local 4 News continues.
It's one of the most heated races in Texas, especially in recent years. Welcome back, everyone. Senator Ted Cruz looking to secure his third term. Ryan Chandler is in Houston at his watch party. Ryan, good evening. What's the word from where you are?
Well, Andy, good evening. It is a festive environment here, of course. I'll tell you that the Cruz campaign was bullish. They certainly expected to come out a winner tonight, but I don't think anybody in his campaign expected the numbers that we're seeing. Remember, it was just 6 years ago in Cruz's last campaign for election that came down to the wire. Beto O'Rourke brought him within 200,000 votes. At my last count, Cruz is now up by almost 900,000 votes, more than quadrupling his margin since his last re-election. So he delivered a rousing speech tonight declaring not just victory, but a mandate to govern on the conservative principles that he has run on, saying that he's glad Majority Leader Schumer spent so many millions of dollars here in Texas because he thinks that's going to help Republicans in other states to potentially give them a Republican majority when he returns to the Senate for his third term in office. So it's a festive environment here tonight. He and the rest of his campaign will certainly continue the celebration here in Houston.
Ryan, thank you for your work tonight. We want to get to some tax rate propositions now. We'll start with Canyon ISD. Voters, 59% of the voters voting against proposition tax rate on that one. We move now to Bushland ISD, asking voters to approve a tax rate as well. With 100% of the precincts reporting, this one did not pass. All right. Let's move on down now. This is to Perryton ISD. Voters, they're actually giving the green light for that tax rate. A yes to this puts 3 cents into the maintenance and operations fund, and it wouldn't raise property taxes. Maybe that's why you see that one passing there with 100% of the precincts reporting. Lastly, Vega ISD. This one has been approved. Well, just about 80% of the votes are in right now. If approved, this would be the 3rd lowest tax rate for the district in 10 years. Just about 52 votes separating that one. Several school districts adopting a tax rate that brings in less money compared to last year. Those will run across the screen very soon. Plus, 2 areas have alcohol sales on the ballot. What voters are saying tonight.
And we are talking about nice weather as we travel into tomorrow morning, but it starts to go downhill. We are looking at the probability of rain and snow across our counties as we travel to Thursday and Friday. How much snow might we see? I'll fill in those details after the break.
Find out what's going on here at the station by following us.
And welcome back, everyone. We're starting out with a time-lapse video from our Pampa camera for Election Day, and really what a nice day to have a chance to go out and vote. Plenty of sunshine across the board today, and no inclement weather anywhere close to us. Now, of course, the days are getting shorter. You know, on the 21st of June, the longest day of the year, nearly 15 hours of sunlight. Well, today, we're down to 10 hours and 35 minutes worth of sunlight. The days are getting shorter. We're closing in on the winter solstice, the 21st of December. Beautiful sunset right there for Election Day. All right, now this is what it looked like this morning on our visible satellite. You know, we had some snow across the northwest counties yesterday from around Boise City and Dalhart text line back over toward Clayton and up into southeast Colorado, back over toward the San Luis Cristo as well. This is kind of a precursor of things to come. This storm system moved away from us, and now we're tracking our next storm system that moves in during the day tomorrow and will be here with us on Thursday and Friday. In fact, the National Weather Service offices around the area putting out a winter storm watch for tomorrow evening, running through Thursday afternoon for the possibility of some heavy snow. In fact, that pink area there is now a winter storm warning. So we're looking at more than likely 6 inches to a foot of snow in the pink areas here, and in the winter storm watch, anywhere from 2 to 5 inches of snow. So we could have a snarling snowstorm on our hands out to the west of us. For Amarillo, we're kind of on the cusp. We'll have to see what happens. It may stay as rain around here, but coming in with our latest totals from the model runs that now looks like Clayton, over a foot of snow could be seen. Only time will tell. We'll watch it and see what happens. Dalhart maybe 2 inches, Tucumcari 3 inches, but right now the rest of the area stays snow-free. I wouldn't count on that. Okay, storm number 2 moved away from us. Here comes storm number 3 making its way in from the northwest, and it is doing a couple things. It's starting to load the atmosphere with low-level moisture, so we will be overcast later tonight. Plus, there could be some sprinkles up to the north and west of us early tomorrow morning, and maybe some snow breaking out by 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. And then as we travel out around, say, Wednesday afternoon at 5 p.m. from Clayton back over toward Roy, New Mexico, in through Wagon Mound and Las Vegas, moderate to heavy snow, followed by the heavy activity now starting to move into our western counties. But notice how it stays just to the west of Amarillo. This is at 8 a.m. on Thursday morning. Snowing to beat the band out to the west of us, but around here possibly a little bit of a rain-snow mix, but keeping it as rain. And then as we travel into Thursday evening and Friday, heaviest snow stays out to the west of us, at least as of right now, and scattered showers continue across the rest of the area. So if we go with this model run from tonight, it doesn't snow in Amarillo, but stay tuned. All right, let's talk about the current winds. Generally out of the southeast at about 5 to 15 miles per hour. Wind speeds will stay up out of the southeast at 5 to 15 throughout the overnight hours. This will promote the overcast, and then tomorrow we gain a north wind as the frontal boundary moves in. How warm was it today for Election Day? Well, for our friends in Childress, 65, Perryton 61, Hereford 63. Right here in the city of Amarillo and downtown, we topped out at 64. Officially out the Weather Service, 59 degrees, average high is 66, record temperature 84 from 1916. From our Roy McCoy downtown camera, it is starting to get very humid. 74% humidity, dew points at 39. Temperature right now is at 47 degrees. The pressure's at 29.76 inches of mercury and holding steady. So here's our day planner forecast for tomorrow. Overcast in the morning, a chilly start, 36 degrees. Wind chills could be around freezing. At 10 a.m., 48 degrees. Temperatures will limp into the upper 50s by 2 p.m., then start to drop back off into the upper 40s and low 50s by 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow. In the morning, freezing up at Clayton, maybe some light snow around daybreak. For our friends over in Pampa, 39 degrees. And then you see a wide range in temperatures. Childress, nearly 70 degrees tomorrow. Clayton, 41. Light snow not too far away. Here in the city, we'll top out at 57. 7-day forecast shapes up this way for the city of Amarillo as we make our way into Thursday. Rain and snow likely. Probability up to 100%. Highs only in the upper 30s and low 40s. Rain and snow possible on Friday. 90% probability. Again, 40 degrees for Amarillo. Cool on Saturday morning. We freeze at 32 for the parade for the veterans on Saturday morning. A little bit cool, but nice in the afternoon. 52. Great weather on Sunday. Monday for Veterans Day, we're at 70. Tuesday, 74. You can go to myhighplains.com and always keep an eye on that interactive radar. Andy, back to you.
Thank you.
You bet.
Back to our election coverage with new numbers tonight. Voters in the city of Miami deciding on alcohol sales tonight. They gave that the thumbs up at 65%. With 100% of the precincts reporting. Voters in Hartley County also having alcohol sales on the ballot. Voters there passed that as well. Voters in Wheeler County deciding if they want to create a road department. Details on why some say it's needed and what changes will happen if it passes.
Closer to the Gaza border. A story of resilience and hope.
(463-7910) for a free.
County commissioner oversees things like roads and bridge projects. Let's go ahead and look at a number of things they're working on in that race. This is for Potter County Precinct 1. Associated Press projecting Republican H.R. Kelly with the win, 71% of the votes. That's with 100% of the precincts reporting that as a done deal. Heading now to Wheeler County, Prop A on the ballot would create a road department. If that passed, road and bridge duties would go to a road supervisor instead of the commissioners in charge of each of their districts. This picks up a big win tonight, 62%. Now to Texas State Representative for District 69. That district is just east of Childress. It includes a few towns in our area and extends all the way down past Wichita Falls. Incumbent James Frank picking up his 7th term tonight. Voters in Cimarron County, Oklahoma saying yes to a 2% sales tax increase. This was passed with 776 votes. John Harris on deck with another look at your forecast. Plus, we'll recap the top races from tonight. Keep it here.
The news on KAMR Local 4 is brought to you by these Town Square media stations.
Ashley's Black Friday mattress event is going.
Level clouds starting to scoot in over the top of us as our next storm system arrives from the northwest. As we travel throughout the day tomorrow, lots of cloud cover, a few peaks from the sun. We'll top out at 57 degrees around 2 p.m., but start to fall back into the 40s by 5 p.m. There will be a wind chill tomorrow. And then tomorrow night into Thursday, rain and snow across the area. 42 degrees for high. Friday morning, 33. Rain and snow likely throughout the day on Friday. Upper 30s and low 40s. We freeze on Saturday morning. Saturday afternoon, not a bad day. Temperatures in low to mid 50s. A warmer on Sunday, nice day. A few cirrus clouds and 67. Veterans Day, a beautiful day, 70. Tuesday, breezy and unseasonably warm, Andy, and 74.
John, thank you.
You bet.
America will soon have a new president. We're getting a closer look at finding out who that will be. The Associated Press calling former President Trump as the projected winner of Texas. That call has been in for a while now. That was 40 electoral votes. That's a big haul. In New Mexico, that state looks like that is trending toward Vice President Kamala Harris. Heading now to Oklahoma, the Associated Press calling this race for the president, another one going to his win column. So let's take a look at where we are right now. This is the road to 270. First one there wins it. Trump out to a big lead. The former president with 230 electoral votes. We're expecting calls pretty close on Georgia's expected to tilt his way as well very soon. The race is far from over. There's still a lot of counting to be done, but that is where it sits at this point. Let's recap some of the big races close to home. We're just going to go through all of these props. Here's what you need to know. Proposition A, that was the sanctuary city. That failed. Proposition B, that was going to increase the council. That failed. Proposition C, that was going to increase the terms. That failed. Proposition D, it would reduce recall signatures. Failed. The only one that passed is Proposition E, but it doesn't matter. That was tied to Proposition E, so it's not going to go into effect anyhow. A lot of numbers that we went through tonight. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to put them over on our website, myhighplains.com. We appreciate you staying up with us tonight, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.